Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel, where in today's video I wanted to talk a little bit about a common perception around recruiters, and from a recruiter's point of view, how you can navigate through this situation essentially. So first things first, the biggest thing that I hear around recruiters in general, and this bad perception around recruiters, is that they are notorious for ghosting candidates. Okay, so to put it quite simply, as you've probably even dealt with it yourself, you'll apply for a position, a recruiter will message back with you, you talk for a little bit, and then bang, just silence. Okay. And in other situations, in even harsher situations, in my opinion, a recruiter will actually reach out to you about an opportunity. You then get emotionally invested, and then bang, they ghost you. Okay. So what happens from here is that recruiters then develop this reputation of being, like just not good in general, and being around the people to just kind of take you in and then ghost you, and they're just using you and things along these lines. And then recruiters get this very bad general perception. Okay. And as a recruiter myself, even I've kind of dealt with it, with people asking me questions about it, like, oh, why do you always ghost people? Why do recruiters always ghost me? Blah, blah, blah. So I thought, you know what? I've got this YouTube channel. Why don't I make a video talking about why this could potentially happen? But more importantly, what are the solutions around it? Because it's very easy to just complain about something. But obviously, in my mind of my world, I want to help you guys be as proactive as possible. So I thought, from a recruiter's point of view, I would share with you guys just a couple of tips to keep you guys in the loop with recruiters. And if you are being ghosted, what are some things that you could be doing differently from your end to kind of take control of the situation? Okay. So to put it quite simply, and this is probably the most probably unsexy thing to hear from this video, but it's the most real, is that, look, recruiters are going to ghost you. Okay. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter how good, how bad you are. There are going to be recruiters that ghost you. Okay. Is it fair? No. Does it happen? Yes. Okay. Now, does this mean that we just kind of put our heads down and give up and that's the end of it? No. Okay. There are many ways around this. Okay. And the biggest thing I want to tell you guys about, and it's so simple, but once implemented, it's going to help you 10 times more. I can guarantee you that as a recruiter. Okay. It is simply following up. Okay. Follow up once, follow up twice, follow up 3 times. I don't care. Okay. Follow up. Okay. Be proactive. Being proactive sells. Okay. Being proactive keeps the conversation alive. Okay. One thing that you guys don't understand, a lot of you guys out there that are not in like a sales or like, you know, business marketing type of environment, a lot of your sales, like as a recruiter myself, a lot of my placements have actually come from initially rebuilding that relationship. Okay. Getting that first no, but keeping in touch. Okay. Not from like a persistent stalker perspective where I'm messaging these people 10 times a day. A simple, once every fortnight follow up, or a once a month follow up. And then just slowly but surely chipping away at that relationship. Even though initially I got the no, I'm being respectful, I'm keeping it professional, and then slowly but surely they start to buy into me. They start to get that trust with me. And then before you know it, they're working with me. Okay? That same principle is no different to, from your perspective, being a job seeker. Okay? It's very easy, all right? Once we apply for a job, we're in conversation with a recruiter, and then we get ignored. We take it personally. We think, oh my gosh, I suck, recruiters are bad, and then we all just get negative about the situation. But how many of you guys are genuinely following up with the recruiter? Okay? Chances are a very small percentage. Okay? Now, the biggest thing I want you guys to just remove straight away, because a lot of you guys are going to have this limiting belief that, I don't want to be seen as annoying. I don't want to be seen as, being over the top, or being, just being annoying essentially. You don't want to be seen as that. You don't want to be seen as being like, persistent, or like not even persistent, but just like harassing them and things along these lines if you've been ignored. You think the no, or sorry, being ignored is the rejection. It's not. Okay. You guys need to remove that limiting belief, because you need to understand the social world and the professional world are two different things. Okay. For example, if you are going to go and shoot your shot at a girl on Instagram, okay, you send her a message and she ignores you, that's fine. Okay. Take it at that. Okay. That's fine. We leave it. We put in the past. We move on. Okay. However, in the professional world, if you have reached out to somebody in a chance to network, or a recruiter has messaged you and you've messaged back and they haven't gotten back to you, don't read it the same way. Okay. Follow up. Be like, hey, sorry, like just following up on this, making sure everything is all good from your end. Whatever it is, like just something little just to keep in touch. Okay. Purely because at the end of the day, this is the professional world. Now, if you have cold messaged somebody and they ignore you, and then you message again and they ignore you, that's fine. You can leave it at that if you really, really want to. Okay. I still think after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, there's no problem in doing it again. Okay. But generally speaking, if you want to leave it at that one follow-up, that's fine. Okay. But the chances are 90% of you are not even doing that. You guys are sending that initial message and just seeing that as the rejection, and that's the end of it. Okay. I guarantee you guys, all right, if you send maybe 10 follow-up messages, at least 2 or 3 are going to get back to you. Even if it's a negative response, you are still going to get a response. I guarantee you that. Okay. Now, you need to be proactive with this. Okay. Reason being is recruiters are busy. Okay. Am I going to say that every recruiter out there is perfect? Absolutely not. Okay. But am I going to say that recruiters are busy? Sure. Okay. I know the feeling, you probably know the feeling of getting maybe 10 emails in a day or 10 messages in a day, and you've got all these different things to do. And then before you know it, you forget to respond to a couple of them. And then you go to bed, or you leave work, you leave the office. And then the next day, someone's like, oh, hey, you didn't get back to my email yesterday. And you're like, oh my gosh, you're right, I didn't. It happens. It happens in general. Probably happens in your social life as well. I'm like that. Sometimes I'll get a text message and I'll open my phone. I won't respond to that specific message. And then I'll respond to something else, then check Instagram or whatever, put my phone down. Before I know it, 6 hours have passed and I forgot to get back to the initial message. It happens, okay? Doesn't mean I'm a bad person, but it just means like, yeah, stuff happens, okay? It's no different with recruiters in a professional world, okay? So from your perspective, you need to be making sure that you are being as proactive as possible and making sure that you are following up with these people, okay? Now, in my opinion, the best time to follow up, okay? The best time to follow up is always a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning, like just as early in the week as possible, I find personally, okay? Purely because if you cold message somebody, like let's say particularly from a cold message perspective, if you're reaching out to a recruiter, okay, and it's like a Friday, 3 p.m., 4 p.m., okay, a lot of these people are already winding down for the week. Okay, a lot of these people are either at end of week drinks. They're either like just in weekend mode. They're not in the position to actually proactively do work in general, let alone go out there and give a detailed response and help a stranger. Okay, so you don't want to catch them in that mindset. Okay, also they're probably not going to be on LinkedIn or be checking their emails and things along these lines. So the last thing you want to do then is just show up at their mailbox here, and then come Monday morning they've got 50 other things come through. Then you're all the way at the bottom. And then they don't see the message, you know? So you want to be able to be reaching out to these people as early as possible in the new week to catch them in that fresh of the week mindset, okay? Secondly, the other thing you want to be doing is making sure that when you're reaching out to these people, you are being as specific as possible, okay? Now, you don't want to be giving these people just a really broad message of like, hey, I want to get into this industry. What any tips for me? Like, no, tell them specifically what you want to do. Understand what do they prioritize in an ideal type of candidate. Things along these lines. I'll go into more detail about this in another video, but you need to be making sure as well that your message is actually something for them to respond to. Okay? A lot of the time, guys, you guys are reaching out to people and you're giving them really broad messages that doesn't even really have a call to action for them. It's just kind of a general message. And if they read that message at the end of a week where they're already in weekend mode, they're not even going to have the energy to respond because they don't know what to respond with. So then you leave it at that. And that's it. Bridge is burnt. Okay? You don't want to have that either. Okay? So make sure, guys, we are reaching out to these people at the start of the week or following up with them at the start of the week. And also, guys, you need to understand is that particularly to those who are actively in a job search, there is nothing wrong with reaching out to these recruiters if you've already been in conversation with them. You know what I mean? You're not harassing them. You're not annoying them. You were literally applying for a position and you haven't been rejected yet. So technically, what's the problem? You know what I mean? Reach out, follow up. It's perfectly fine. I promise you guys. And what recruiters see from this perspective is a candidate that is a go-getter. This is a candidate that is proactive. This is a candidate who cares about the position and wants clarity on the situation. Okay? Are there recruiters out there that are going to ghost you? Absolutely. Is it right? No. But the only thing that we can do from our perspective as a job seeker is control what we can worry about. Worry about what we can control. Control the controllables, as they say. Okay? So if you have been ignored, reach out again. Send another message. It is perfectly fine. Okay? You're not harassing them. You're not being a stalker. They're not going to block you. And if they have an issue with it, they will tell you. Okay? And even if you get ignored again, it is what it is. All right? But the moral of the story is just be proactive, okay? Yes, as I said, there are these recruiters that are going to ignore you and things along these lines. But all we can do is control what we can control, and worry about what we can control, and that is going out there and sending that follow-up message. It is perfectly fine. I promise you, as a recruiter, it is perfectly fine. And you know what? You'll actually do a lot of them favors. I promise you. A lot of them are actually going to be like, crap, I missed that message. Thank you so much for getting back with me. Even if it's a rejection, that is now another opportunity for you to be like, okay, hey, so what did you prioritize in the candidate that you did proceed with? Like, what were the things that they did well? What are some things that, I can do differently? You can then open the door to another conversation, or you can then ask them, if they know anybody in their network that can then help you with finding a new opportunity. Like, all these different things can happen from their response if you just send that follow-up message, okay? So don't close the door straight off the bat, all right? I promise you guys, okay? Anyways, hope you guys got some value from this video. If you are interested in working with me on a one-to-one level or seeing any other value that I can potentially bring, click the links below in my bio. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care again, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.